Okay, now for the next video, I'm going to be discussing something a little shorter. So it's going to be about a little bit of the terms that you need for algebra, the lingo you've got to know for algebra. So there's a couple that I want to go over real quick. So let's jump into it. Okay, a term. Okay, probably heard this word a lot, but in algebra it means something very special. It is basically just an expression. Okay, a term is technically just an expression. It can be a number, it can be a variable, it can be the product of a number and a variable. Or it can be the product of a number and more than one variable. So, say 3, that is technically an expression because it can be a number, it's expressing something. You've got, you could have z, right? Because that's just a variable. You could have 8k, that's also a term. Or you could have 6ab, right? We've got two variables in there. These are all terms. So then we've got coefficients. Coefficients. Okay, so the coefficient is the numerical part of a term. The numerical part of a term or factor. Okay, so like, let's say in 7w, your coefficient is 7, right? That's the number. That's not the letter, it's the number part, basically. Or in negative 4ax, your coefficient is negative 4, because again, that is the number, okay? Then you've got something closely related to these two. It is called a constant, okay? I did mention that in an earlier video as far as constants. When you're creating algebraic expressions and you're looking for that starting point that doesn't change, that is a constant. Now, technically, the way my book defines it, a constant is a term without a variable. So it doesn't have a variable. So like, say, just a number like 5 or -7. Okay, but the thing is, technically, if you want to think about it a little more technically, you could write these as so that they are coefficients. So like 5, say 5 times x to the 0 power, because x to the 0 power, any variable to the 0 power, any number to the 0 power is always 1. So that would just be like 5 times 1, which is 5. And similarly, you could write -7, you could rewrite it as -7 times a to the 0 power, and that would again be -7 times 1, because any number raised to the 0 power is just 1. So that's a little technicality that I wanted to make a note of, because I just think it's a little interesting to consider. Okay, the last one, I told you this is kind of going to be just a shorter video. Like terms, and I will say this is a heads up for what I want to cover in my videos next week. Like terms, specifically what to do when you have an expression where you've got like terms and you want to simplify that expression. So like terms have the same variables, okay, well, or variables, so I'm just going to put s in parentheses, you know, variable or variables, and those variables are raised to the same power. So keep in mind, let's say you've got x raised to the 4th power and x raised to the 5th power. Yes, they are both x, but they are not technically like terms because their powers, their exponents, are different. So let's say you had an equation like this, 3x squared plus 5x squared plus 9y cubed times z plus 2yz minus 4y squared z. So next week I plan on covering this exact example, specifically how to simplify it, but that's an example of where you're going to see like terms. So like 3x squared plus 5x squared, the x squared terms are like terms, and the, oh wait, hang on, that's why this needs to be 3. So you see, and then the 9y cubed z and the -4y cubed z, those are also like terms because again, same variables, and those variables are raised to the same power or powers. So that's just a brief preview of what's to come next week in algebraic expressions. So see ya.